Welcome, everyone. This is Recovery Dharma. I'm Julia, one of the facilitators of Recovery Dharma Spokane Sangha. And I'd like to share with the beginning of our practice today with a little Thich Nhat Hanh. This is his book, How to Connect. And I'm going to read this passage at the beginning of our session, and I'm also going to read it as the dedication of merit. Yesterday, we were talking about the theme for the month of May, which is the archetypal mother and the sacred feminine. And this week, I brought forward the sacred feminine and the archetypal mother representative as the third jewel in Buddhism, the Sangha. The other two jewels in Buddhism are the Buddha, the awakened one, who represents for each of us that capacity within that can awaken from the causes and conditions that cause us to suffer. My causes, my conditions, my karma are mine, and they're going to look different than each of you, which means the way that I seek awakening, the way that I have moments of illumination and enlightenment are going to be different for each of you. The Buddha, his teaching, the second jewel, the Dharma, was this constant, impeccable invitation for you to awaken yourself, to wholeheartedly, fully, wholly be yourself. And part of that being is to bring forward the quality within each of you that capitalizes on the idea of mother and whatever those qualities are for you. Capitalize on the sacred feminine, whatever those qualities may be for you, and they're going to be different for everyone. Yesterday, I mentioned a meditation called the Sieve. And this is an imagery-oriented meditation. It is a visual meditation, and it's all about connecting to the earth and purifying as a function of Mother Earth. To purify is to become more of oneself. To purify is to come into the clarity of the thing, of whatever it is that we are wanting to see. Pure clarified butter is the purest essence of butter. Pure in terms of human being is what is the essence that makes you a whole human being, not just those qualities that are warm and fuzzy and beautiful. That's only half of who you are. The other half of you is the shadow. And so to bring those two together, to constantly bring out how the pairs of opposites come together, how they hold each other, how they're entwined so beautifully. This is what it means to purify. So, Thich Nhat Hanh's book, How to Connect. This is a beautiful reading called Our Connection with the Earth. Thich Nhat Hanh writes, "The earth purifies and refreshes. Whatever we throw onto the earth, fragrant flowers, urine, or excrement, the earth doesn't discriminate. She accepts everything, whether pure or impure, and transforms it, no matter how long it takes." We humans have done many careless things that have harmed the earth, and yet she does not punish us. She brings us to life, and she welcomes us back to her when we die. When we look deeply and feel this connection to the earth, we begin to feel admiration, love, and respect. When we understand that the earth is so much more than simply the environment, we are moved to protect her as we would protect ourselves. She is us, and we are her. With this kind of communion, we no longer feel alienated. As the last beings to arrive to this earth party, on an evolutionary scale, that is, human beings, although new to the earth, relatively speaking, we belong here. You belong here. You are the earth. And the earth itself, its soil especially, is an extraordinary purifier. I don't know how many of you know this, but I'm an organic farmer. I have a sweet little small farm in eastern Washington. And I spent a number of years here living a very quiet, contemplative life, stewarding this land. And I've spent a lot of time looking at the layers of my soil to see and study its composition, to understand its filtering, and to know the aquifer down below, which my well is connected to, and it irrigates my property and comes into my home. There's a very thin layer of topsoil, which I have spent years amending and enriching. Eastern Washington is a high desert. It is very sandy in parts of my pastures. So there's this very thick layer of silty, sandy soil that is mostly depleted of nutrients. Underneath that is a layer of gravelly, thicker, pebbly, sandy type material. Underneath that is stone. Underneath that is a very unique stone formation in this part of the country called basalt rock. It's beautiful. It's very slate colored. It's gorgeous. And it's in big giant columns. There's also volcanic pumice in the soil as well. When water lands upon the earth on my farm, it filters through each of these layers, these different compositions of evolutionary earth that have taken millions of years to create and form. 130 feet down is where I tap into the aquifer, this underwater river, enormous underwater river. I have never excavated and taken a sample of 130 feet of earth, but I would love to. I'd love to see what that looks like. But regardless, for the point of this meditation, I simply want you to imagine where you are in the world. And imagine a couple of drops of water and how that water drips through layers and layers of soil. At each layer, at each stop, there is a place for impurities to be released. Until finally, through this sieve, through this filtering system, it lands somewhere deep in the earth, purified. In its most simple form, 2 hydrogens and a single oxygen. The mind can be a sieve too. A thought can be invited to go through layers of light and understanding, layers of curiosity and wonder, layers of intuitive knowing, wisdom, until the thought loses its impurities, the impurities of confusion, aggression, avoidance, harm, distortion, obscurity, and so on. And when we practice putting a thought through a sort of spiritual sieve, what we end up with is simply what is the nature of reality. What are you seeing as it is, beyond the story, beyond the emotional reactivity, beyond the body's response? Be careful if you adopt in your practice words like pure and impure, because the mind is so quick to latch on to duality. Purity is good, impurity is bad. And although we want to shed the impurities, the only way to do that is to spend time understanding what they are. And within that space of confusion, aggression, avoidance, there is a lot of wisdom. There is quite a bit of light. There is clarity to be had. So even in the shadowlands of our minds, there is purity to be found. That's why the equanimity practice is so important. We're not here to continue to perpetuate trying to hold on to one while we get rid of the other. That is just the definition of suffering. Chasing the pleasantries, avoiding the negativities. The equanimity practice is always about staying neutral before both and recognizing that there are qualities, pure and impure, in both. Goodness, badness, rightness, wrongness, peace, violence. And when we can take a moment to filter this gently, with time and beauty like the earth does, eventually we'll get to clarity, ease, stillness. Friends, as we take a step toward the conclusion of this imagery, I encourage you to get playful with it. Just as I was sitting here, I suddenly had an image of my own thoughts being like spaghetti that need to be strained every once in a while, or even mining for gold. And you scoop, I've never done this, but I want to, where you go into a river and you scoop up with a screen just all the silt and pebbles that have landed there, and you shake it out and you let the water wash over it, and there's bound to be a couple of nuggets of wonder going on there. And that's how we can begin to treat our minds. Use the power of nature to guide you. Let the Mother of Earth care for you. It's all she knows how to do. Thank you, friends. Let's take a deep breath together, and then we'll come back to this space and open it up for sharing. That's it. Let's go ahead and end our practice today with a dedication of merit. And I'm just going to read this reading again. And one of the things that I'd like you to be thinking about, and we'll probably talk about it next week as well, because I really love this theme and it's worth spending some time. And Jake had to go, but I want to thank Jake for that beautiful awareness of Mother Earth is pissed off and raging. And there's an element that's definitely true. And then there's also this truth that Mother Earth really just takes it and will withstand it. And the thing that's so humbling is the earth will survive in its own way long after us. And so there's something really humbling about that. And we are very small against its power. And I think sometimes that reaction to resist and to fight and to dominate is motivated by fear and that grasping for control. And so just looking at that within your own self in a maternal way, a taking care way of when you find yourself grasping to control, to know, to have it all figured out. Take the example from the earth. It's a long time. It's a long time. She's been here for a long time. She's weathered a lot. And she's still here. So with that, friends, our connection with the earth. The earth purifies and refreshes. Whatever we throw on the earth, fragrant flowers, urine, or excrement, the earth doesn't discriminate. She accepts everything, whether pure or impure, and transforms it, no matter how long it takes. We humans have done many careless things that have harmed the earth, and yet she does not punish us. She brings us to life, and she welcomes us back to her when we die. When we look deeply and feel this connection to the earth, we begin to feel admiration, love, and respect. When we understand that the earth is so much more than simply the environment, we are moved to protect her as she would protect ourselves. She is us, and we are her. With this kind of communion, we no longer feel alienated. Friends, thank you so much for your practice. Thank you for being part of the Spokane Sangha, practicing with all of us here today, inspiring me so deeply to continue to show up, to continue to practice. It is such an extraordinary way to belong in a community so wise and loving. Have a wonderful weekend, friends. We'll see you next time. Namaste.